I'm gonna start right as.
Hey, what's up, Ramble Force? Chris Gamble here from the Digital Ramble in my truck in the UK, and joined by my co-driver, co-host, JJ over in Houston, Texas.
What's happening, my man? How are you, brother? I'm here in my truck too.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done a show in our vehicles, but that shows you the workload is ramping up. It's the time of year. Definitely, this is the time of year when work just starts to explode for the rest of the year now.
Yeah, man, I've been doing a lot of traveling. I'm not quarantining myself right now. I'm actually going from job to job. Yeah, a little squirt there. You've been using that on your hands, not in your eyeballs, right?
Yeah, I thought it was eye drops. I thought it was thought you could catch coronavirus through blinking.
Oh man, you're clean as a whistle, I'm sure. Well, it's good to see you, Gamble. Today we're talking about something amazing. Episode 63. We're talking about legacy home automation and the difference between that and smart home. What you and I feel like we're doing.
Yeah, and again, we're just reacting to things that we're seeing trending over the week that's just passed on social media and various newsletters and blogs that we catch up on all week. And we just see this legacy home automation clinging on by its fingernails to this new breed of smart home. So we're gonna go into that, and we'd love you to join in with your comments and opinions on this. We want to hear your views on the legacy and the future for smart home.
Oh, man, I think this is going to be a burner for sure, man. I think we're going to get a lot of engagement. A lot of different feelings are going to be dropped down in the bottom from our industry. And we want that. We want to hear from you. If you don't know who we are, I'm JJ Cannon, CEO of Digital Delight here in Houston, Texas. You can check us out at digitaldelight.com. And we have been creating amazing experiences for homeowners all over our region for over 21 years. And we want to continue to do so for quite a long more time. I got to put some kids through college.
Yeah, my name is Chris Gamble from a company called Customized. We're based here in the dark side of the UK. We're in East Anglia. We're in the dark tonight. Customized, very sensibly priced, real world, every home, smart home installation business. We don't discriminate. We tackle every challenge that comes our way with a price-friendly option.
Yeah, we want to encourage you to check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. We're on 11 different podcast streaming services. If you be so kind, please subscribe. Please like. Please follow. Please share. You know, the content that we're trying to bring of value to you homeowners.
Sure. Right, I'm desperate to get into this one, JJ. I think it's gonna just blast off. So let's get into episode 63. Okay, as always, just a quick one. We want to thank our Patreons. Appreciate the support that we get from them. And the small payments they make every month makes a huge difference to the show. If you'd like to become a supporter of the show, go to patreon.com/digital ramble. And for as little as $1 a month, you can keep the lights on, or one light on, for the Digital Ramble.
You know, Gamble, this past weekend, you and I, we were kind of shooting it back and forth and talking about how we're seeing, you know, some of these home automation companies talk about their smart home. And really, I think there's been a transition from, at least in how I see it, there's been a transition from legacy home automation to what truly smart home might be. And you know, we had some pretty interesting ideas of what those differences are.
Yeah, for me, I've always argued that home automation is very reliant on a professional to program, or the homeowner to program what they want to happen. So you're setting schedules, timers, time of year, time of day, and the home will react to your input. Whereas where I see smart home is far more intelligent. It's reactive to your location. It's reactive to sunset, sunrise, and tracking those times of day. It's also aware of habits and changes to your routine. And we talk about things like artificial intelligence and learning of the home. So for me, and this is where the episode is really pitched, is if you're the homeowner, the consumer that's thinking of investing in this, please don't get trapped with home automation if you want a smart home, because it might not give you all the smart factor that you had hoped at the start.
Yeah, and I think one of the very first smart devices to come on the scene that was truly smart was like the Nest thermostat. And it started understanding and creating a schedule according to when it saw motion in your house. Also, it started learning what your climate, temperatures, what you liked in your home, depending on the season that it might be in. And then it would build a schedule accordingly to what, your home needed or what your home, liked. I think that was one of the very first ones that I remember seeing.
And JJ, that must be pretty difficult to do. The reason I say that is competitors within the thermostat market haven't introduced that feature. So it must be difficult to implement. Okay, Nest with the might of Google behind them. But even this is a feature they had straight out of the gate when they launched their thermostat. And they must have had, 7 years now, I think that thermostat's been around. So that hasn't been implemented by others. So it shows you the level of complexity it is to introduce that. And even big, vast home automation platforms that encompass heating, lighting, music, security, and all these things, they struggle to implement any kind of learning or awareness of your routines, habits, and presence.
Yeah, I think you're right. It must be very difficult, but there are some companies that have figured out how to work across channels to make things work. And I think of life safety in particular, to where automatically, if an alarm sounds, particularly like a CO2 or a fire or something like that, your lights automatically will illuminate for you, which I find to be a fantastic, smart home feature, something that just works. If you set up your devices, all devices, smart or not, you've got to set them up. They have an account. You have to have them installed appropriately, but there are certain things that you can do to where they automate automatically.
Yeah, and those are things to look out for when you're identifying the tech that's right for your home. Is how do they work together? Does it need separate hubs, coding? Does it need a lot of work to get them to talk to each other? Or are they natively able to talk to each other through a shared platform like Apple HomeKit? Or are they part of a program like Works with Google or Works with Sonos? And these partnerships that these brands have worked on at a high level to take away all the complexity for you. You're just telling it, hey, device A, talk to device B. And when you do talk to each other, do this. And in some cases, things are happening straight out of the box because it knows, if carbon monoxide is detected, then shut off my thermostat. And I know that's an example of Nest again, and they're the same brand and they should talk to each other, but they've done that little bit of automation and intelligence for you. So that makes it really smart, in my opinion.
The other thing that I think draws a line, Gamble, between traditional legacy home automation and smart home devices is that you're not necessarily bound by needing a home technology professional once the product is installed appropriately. For example, I I remember years and years of programming clients' control systems just to change the channel. And the client would call us and say, "Hey Jay, we went from a cable provider A to cable provider B, and I just need to get this programmed into my control system." And the pain, financial pain and burden that was to the homeowner to just have something that simple changed was just unbearable, to where now there are control systems to where clients can do it themselves if so desired. I mean, we still get a lot of clients that call us to do it for them, but they shouldn't feel bound and have to rely on the home technology professional if they want to make a simple adjustment. And that goes with the control system, also lighting scenes. I mean, there's a bunch of variances that we can discuss, but those are two big ones that I know were very painful in the past that have changed with the inception of smart home devices.
Yeah, I can count number of times on my fingers that the amount of systems that lock out the homeowner, and have done for a number of years, and have only now just started to adapt. And when they've adapted, they come to me as the dealer saying, "Great news! Your homeowner client has now got the ability to change that." And I'm thinking, well, good for you for catching up, but I'm afraid you've missed the boat. I've actually moved on to another product because I was tired of waiting for you. So don't come to me with your big fanfare saying, "Look how smart our update is." I'm sorry, you've failed to stay in the race, and I've moved on from you. And that's something really close to me at the moment, where I worked with a system for a number of years, got very frustrated with the lack of innovation and progress with the product, not just for my wants and needs, but for the homeowner. I felt that it just wasn't delivering, in comparison to sometimes almost comparing it to some gadgets that were available. It couldn't keep up with those kind of features. And then when voice came along, it was nowhere near being able to be controlled by voice. So I had to ditch that brand, make a big call for my business to leave that legacy tech on the side and move on to a smarter system.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest ones, Gamble, is that as technology was shifting, it seemed that some of those legacy home automation products weren't keeping up. And I don't know, it must be challenging to do that again, kind of going back to how we opened this conversation up, is that it must be a difficult shift, if you start going down one road, but there were so many other technologies that could fulfill what the clients are asking for. And that's the other thing about smart home, Gamble, is the products that are in this true smart home realm. Clients are educated about them. They are familiar with these brands. Their neighbors have them. Their associates have them, and they're talking about the success and the joys that they're seeing, as well as the affordability, Gamble.
Yeah, JJ, I'm a huge believer that if you're putting in technology that the customer enjoys, has some affection for the brand, and is able to upgrade bit by bit, as you know, not just having it all at once in one big hit. You've gave them a system that they can add an extra speaker, add a couple more lights, add an additional security device. That it keeps them engaged with their technology. It keeps them it fresh in their mind, so that when they are talking to a friend, a colleague, I just had this scenario literally before we came on air that, "Hey, Chris, you did an installation for my neighbor. I've just been round for whatever reason, and I really like their light switches." Great. And I know the customer would have spoken affectionately about the system. They really enjoy their lighting system, and they hope, it sounds like they talked affectionately about the installation professional that they had on their project. So for me, it's win, 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 win all the time with these brands, and I can't go back to the legacy. It would destroy me. I'd change career if I had to go back to some of the things we've dealt with even only in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, the mental strain, Gamble, and the anxiety that it was creating for me as a business owner as well. And, we were regarded as one of the top, programmers for a particular manufacturer for many, many years. And regardless of how good we were, it just seemed to be very painful for the homeowner with the systems. And whenever we started backing up and taking a broader look at the offerings that were available, we found that we could find products that, and we came up in-house with this mantra of less is more. The less boxes, the less wires, the more reliability, the easier it was for the clients to use. And we still design our systems today with that same exact thinking in mind of how can we do more with less. And whenever you make that mind shift, you really start thinking of the smart home. Most of our designs now, Gamble, almost all of our designs now don't have a rack. And a rack is, for those that don't know, is like a central control closet that has a big networking rack that's full of all kinds of hardware, and it usually gets pretty hot. And sometimes, most of the time, after a year or so, and particularly whenever you have a service provider or a cable provider or internet service provider or somebody like that, you have trouble. They rip all the beautiful wiring apart, and it just creates an absolute mess for the homeowner. And actually, to me, it's a loss of investment for that homeowner. And I want to protect my clients' investments so that when they do make an investment in digital light, if they call somebody out, it's not going to be a loss because somebody just destroyed all the work that we just created for them. We want to make it simple so whoever comes in can have some logical understanding of what's happening, and preferably give us a call if they have any questions, but they're not going to destroy the entire house and bring down that entire system. So, making some of those design shifts and going more smart home direction versus traditional, and taking some of those must-have devices out of the or hardware out of the equation has made it much more reliable and less is more approach for our homeowners.
Yeah, and I know that you're seeing the benefits of that shift over the last few years. But one thing we need to address, though, is if you as a homeowner do feel that you've got a system that is from a time gone by, that's from a previous era, it's outdated tech, the reality is it's probably going to cost quite a lot of money to transition that system into a smarter system. It's not often the case of adding a hub or doing an upgrade. Some systems are way behind. Some aren't, though. But if it's a historical system, then there may be a significant upgrade path and cost in that and an investment. But for a lot of products, 3, 4, 5 years old, speak to your professional about coming up with an upgrade path or a road to success, a road to switching over to a smarter system, because you can do it room by room, you can do it area at a time, you can do it bit by bit as you're making changes to your home, so that eventually you do move onto the path of a more intelligent, smarter, learning and just a more all-round future-ready system.
Yeah, and just depending on what size home that you have and what you're trying to accomplish, although we talk smart home, there's variances of degrees of quality that you can choose from in the sense of the dimmers that you might have in your house, the quality of the speakers that you have, because there's a variance of levels. But for us, there's a core. We've been calling nulls, right, Gamble? And we have five manufacturers that have proven to work very well together, that are very reliable, that are affordable, and then off of that, we can create some really incredible experiences and also add a variance of quality, just depending on what kind of budget you're trying to get yourself in. The other cool thing, and Gamble, you touched on it, is the expandability. It's like, you know what, we have clients that say, Jay, you know what, I want to do the whole house, but with your designs, we can start here. And as our budget allows, then we can grow to the rest of our house and start adding in rooms or areas around our home or in our business as resources come available.
Yeah. So one thing I also want to highlight before we roll into, we've got a cannon fire coming up very soon, is if you've got a system where there's been a lot of configuration done by an installation company, they've spent a lot of time configuring your home, writing maybe some custom codes and creating something unique to your home. And if you're happy with it, that's fantastic. But what I stress you all to do is make sure you get a copy of these programming files. Have a copy of that, save it on Dropbox, put it on a USB pen, leave it in the drawer, in the closet where all the tech is, because your installation professional might not be around forever, or they may have changed direction and no longer support that brand, or there's maybe a way that you can make some changes to the system and take it into your own responsibility to program a system. So please get that information so that you're not locked out of the system. And I think that's one way to help transition as well. If you do start shifting to a newer system, at least the new installer or whoever you're going to get to do the work has a copy of some of the things that you've had set up in the past: schedules, timers, brightness levels, just preferences that you've built up over the years that programmer has altered and adjusted to the point that you're happy. It might have taken a while for you to be totally happy with your lighting system, for example, but get a copy of that, please.
Yeah, Gamble. Man, I came across several clients last week that had that same situation. One, they had a falling out with the previous installer, or two, that installer have gone out of business and they wanted us to make some programming changes. And without that software, it was going to cost it was going to cost them a lot more because of the time that it would take than if they had the program. And get the program, people. You own it. You own it. You paid for it, so you get it. And that's something that a lot of homeowners don't know. All right, man, we're going to get into cannon fire. We ready for this?
Go for it, JJ.
Fire the cannons. Builders, homeowners, you must pre-wire. Gamble, this past week, I went over to a client's house. We started on Monday and went into the house. It was bare of anything other than Romex. It had power, but no coax, no Cat 5, nowhere. And the client wanted to have TVs in 5 of the rooms. He wanted to have Wi-Fi throughout his house. He had an office and wanted to plug his computer up to the hardwire of the internet service provider. And he wanted to keep everything out of the way in a closet, like in a home run panel, not necessarily in a rack, but just out of the way. And there was no wire in this house. He wanted cameras, but there was no wire for the cameras. So we were able to come in, and with my professional team that we've had, working for, goodness, I think 7 years is my youngest employee, but we're able to run wire through the house without doing any sheetrock damage. But the cost associated to the homeowner, the frustration that the homeowner had, the bad sour taste that the homeowner had from buying that house from that builder, no bueno. That means no good. That was no fuego. There was no fire. He was not excited. He was super excited about the new house, and then he realized it wasn't wired. Oof, no good. So, friends, pre-wire for your televisions, or make sure there's pre-wire for your TVs, pre-wire for cameras. Even if you're not going to use it, get the wire where it needs to go. It's much more affordable to have it done in the when the house is, exposed, when there's no sheetrock on the wall, or when you can cut sheetrock prior to it being finished, than it is after the fact. The client's super happy with the experience that we at Digital Delight provided them, but it cost him several extra dollars than what it should have if the home was pre-wired for them. So that's my cannon fire for the week. Builders, homeowners, you must pre-wire your home.
Yeah, a subject very close to my heart. I'm a huge believer in homes being prepared for the future. And I'm also a big believer that if you are a self-builder, a builder, a property developer, all these kind of things, just seek out your local pro, ask them out for a coffee, visit their offices, whatever it is, invite them around to your offices, and they'll come and chat to you about how to make your homes future ready, smart home ready, all these buzz terms that are out there. But just reach out to them and start a relationship with your local home tech pro.
All right, friends, digital ramblers, thank you so much for joining in to episode 63. Drop your comments down below. Share, like, subscribe. You can find us on YouTube, find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram, over 11 different streaming channels. And again, please share with your friends. We greatly, greatly appreciate all of your engagement that you've given us over this past year and a half. Gamble, it's been wonderful seeing you again, my friend.
Cool. And remember, everyone, if you don't know, ask a home tech pro.
Every month, the Digital Ramble will receive a regular source of income from supporters who've pledged through Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, having your ongoing support means we spend less time thinking about business and more time creating quality content for you.
Customized, based in Norfolk, England, are proud sponsors of the Digital Ramble. Check out our all setup services. It's smart home installation with ease. Customize.uk.com.
If you're looking to make your basic home smart, check out digitaldelight.com/shop, where they have a variety of different smart home technology solutions that help make smart home shopping easy for you. Check out digitaldelight.com/shop.